Intel put on a show with the announcement of their 13th gen Raptor Lake CPUs, but the flagship 13900K isn't all Intel has up its sleeve. Starting with what was actually announced, Intel is launching their Raptor Lake CPUs on October 20th, about a month after the release of AMD's Ryzen 7000. Raptor Lake is entering the fray, led by the flagship i9 13900K. This large lad is going to cost $589 USD, which is cheaper than a 7950X, but $40 more expensive than a 7900X. So no doubt a competitive price point, but for not quite $600, the 13900K is bringing you 8 performance cores, 16 efficiency cores, totaling up to 24 cores total, 32 threads, clocking in at 5.8 GHz on single core boost. All of these cores cost power though, and subsequently heat, and some leaks have indicated the 13900K will be pulling upwards of 300 watts when in max power mode. So good luck cooling it. The real battle will of course begin when these processors launch, and we see just how Intel's 13th gen stacks up against Zen 4. But according to Intel, we can expect 15% better single-core performance and up to 41% better multi-threaded performance. Validation is of course needed, but these early numbers do suggest that the 13900K is going to be trading blows with the 7950X. I'll only focus on the flagships for now, but once 13th gen launches, we'll definitely be doing a value analysis of Zen 4 versus Raptor Lake, so make sure you're subscribed for that. But my prediction is out of the gate, the 13900K will beat the 7900X and 7950X in gaming, but productivity might tell a different story. AMD has clearly made huge architectural gains with Zen 4 in productivity tasks like Blender or AutoCAD. Those gains are hard to dismiss and hard to compete against, which is why I believe Intel might struggle. A double-edged sword for Intel is their hybrid chip design, that is, the use of performance and efficiency cores. While a novel concept that Apple has shown can work, it requires software developers to be able to properly leverage those efficiency cores in order to squeeze the maximum performance out of the hardware. This takes time, and while the industry is getting there, it's still not quite there yet. This puts AMD's 16 equal performance cores on the 7950X at a big advantage, but raw performance numbers might not be the end of Intel's story. Raptor Lake is using an improved thread director technology, which aims to try leaving your PC alone while Blender render is going, a thing of the past. So while AMD might win the productivity sector, what about gaming? As previously mentioned, Intel seemed poised to win that category, but AMD has a possible ace up their sleeve. The 7800X3D will be a successor to the 5800X3D, the last gen AMD chip that even outcompetes the 7950X in gaming due to a boatload of extra cache made possible by die stacking technology. So no doubt when the 7800X3D is announced and released, it will take the gaming performance crown away from Intel, which will then set the stage for Intel to play the ace up their sleeve. We have gotten some leaks about the 13900KS. I know, the 13900K isn't even out yet, but we're already looking ahead. Per the rumors, the 13900KS will keep the same core breakdown and will feature up to a 6 GHz boost clock, which is screaming fast. Would this uptick in clock speed be enough to beat the benefits of more cache on a 7800X3D? Time will have to tell, but Intel's strategy is to tell their processors to work faster, as one drawback of the 3D cache technology is a bit of a downclock in order to preserve stability. Reading further into the leaks, allegedly the 13900KS will even beat the 7950X in productivity workloads, but time will have to tell. And finally, as we're circled back talking about productivity again, Intel isn't ready to sit this conversation out. At Innovation 2022, the event where Intel formally announced 13th gen, a wafer Intel showed off seems to indicate there is a 34-core Raptor Lake processor yet to be announced. This could be the coveted return of Intel's Extreme Edition, or perhaps even Intel's more direct answer to the 7950X, a 13950K, if you will. No doubt the 10 extra cores will be set to trade blows with the 7950X if Intel wasn't able to already, but once again, we'll have to wait and see. One of the most interesting things coming out of this back and forth is going to be the timing of it all. AMD is, of course, ready to punch back with the return of Threadripper. Early leaks of spotted 32 and 64-core Threadripper models have surfaced, which will no doubt be absolute workhorses if they actually release. So while we have to wait for all of these chips to release to get real-world performance numbers, one thing is for certain. AMD and Intel are engaged in a rapid back and forth, and I am here for it, as competition is always great. What's not great is the RTX 4080 12GB, as analyzed in our video here. Let us know in the comments if you're going to be Team Blue or Red this generation, and I'll see you in the next one.